That's right. That's right. And that could be a spendy weekend.
It could be a spendy weekend.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This is what it all comes down to. The owners of Victory Chassis understand the two words, money talks. Chad Chadwick understands money talks. $500 to start, that is what it pays to win a modified feature at most places. He's going to give you that for last place. There's 20 cars in that race, and 10th on back pays $5. That's $5,000 just from 10th on back. $7,500 to win. Now you're up to 12.5. You see, I mean,
you're guaranteed a show.
Well, you're going to get a show.
Car count.
You're going to get a show.
You're guaranteed everything.
Absolutely.
Fans will be there. I mean, perfect timing, right? Kids are already settled in school. Guess what? We're bored.
Yep.
Weather's still nice. Let's go to the races.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. But at the same time, and you're right. I agree with everything you just said. Money does talk. You put up the big money. You promote the race right. You're going to get the car count. You're going to get the sponsors. You're going to get the fans. Everybody's going to be there, right? But at the same time, I'm going to tell you something a wise man recently told me. And it was an eye-opener. And it was absolutely true.
I think I already know who the wise man is, but...
Said, racers aren't loyal.
I know exactly who that is.
And I thought, no, that's not the case. I'll tell you right now, it's a good thing I didn't put money on that deal. I'd be broke. What are we looking at?
Nothing.
Gary, what's that look for?
It was just a great
good.
phrase is all.
All right.
I'll leave it at that.
I'm just looking across the table, and they're passing the phone back and forth, and they got this stupid look on their face. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
You can read it. You can read it out loud if you want. It has nothing to do with racing, though.
Well, we'll keep it off the air then.
Yep.
I don't know what it is, but I don't know. With YouTube, I don't want to know.
Cheers.
I wish I was going to the West Coast Nationals, this modified deal. I'd love to watch that race. It's going to be that's going to be a knockdown drag out. You put big money up like that, guys they're going to go for it. The guys are going to let it go. The Hope 71 back in Arkansas. Good West Coast representation. Chadwick made the show. I believe Laney and Dotson both made the show. Tom Berry Jr. made the show. We had some good West Coast guys make that deal. I mean, you're talking again, pretty stout deal following up on the Boone Super Nationals. Starting to really see some muscle coming from this region. I'm glad because we just talked about it, and we're going to do an entire show on this probably sometime this winter about this region. The West Coast, the Northwest, the entire West Coast, and I've said it before 100 times, I believe is the most untapped market for driver talent anywhere in this country.
Absolutely.
There's some guys out there saying, hey, got something to prove, let me show you. And, you look at what Weinbarger and Ferrando did last year at the Boone Super Nationals. You look at what, Laney and Dotson did. You look what they did this year, first and third. Tom Berry just, he made the show back there in Arkansas. You got some good, Chadwick picks up 2 new cars and makes a show with his new car. I mean, that tells you that these guys here are just as good. I mean, we've got talent that's just as good as anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
And that is the heart of modified country right there. You're talking about where the whole modified scene was founded. The best of the best typically are in that region. And there's a movement going on out here. And now you got Joey Tanner joining the modified ranks. And you still got Ferrando and Weinberg and Bryson James. Look at what Bryson James did this year. Wins the championship at Willamette. Wins the Oregon State Championship. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm hearing he's ranked number 5 in the nation through IMCA.
That's what I saw.
Okay, all this talk about all these other drivers, and we have yet to really talk about Bryson. Bryson is hands down the most humble young talent, much like he truly attitude-wise, much like Ethan Dotson. Get out of the car, won the race, do your interview, Ton of talent. Joey Tanner and Bryson James are the opposite ends of the spectrum on personality, but they're right there, talent-wise as drivers. I mean, how can you ask for much better talent? I mean, any better talent? I mean, you still got, we're talking modifieds right now. Weinbarger, Ferrando, John Campos. I'm talking Oregon guys right now.
Yeah.
Bryson, Mark Carroll. He shows up every time he unloads. He runs well. I mean, you got some bad dudes and modifieds out here. I would love to see those guys go back in full force at Boone and take a good shot. Just show up with a 541, 503 Mafia and turn it loose. Because I'll guarantee you, those guys are going to hold their own, if not pull off the miracle like Dotson did. West Coast guys go out there and, say, hey, this is who we are. Check this out. And represent very well. I love seeing it. I absolutely love seeing it. We need it. I have watched over the course of my time in racing so many guys with so much talent wasted at their local track. And I mean,
I'll tell you what I've seen in the past 80s, 90s, a lot of it's limited to finances, being able to travel.
Sure. Well, and that's the problem out here. Yeah, absolutely.
Things like that.
Absolutely.
You got some talent, but you're not being recognized. So
absolutely.
How do we get recognition for these guys?
We're going to change some of that
and
stuff.
That's what we're looking at.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, think about this. Let's go back. Let's go back to the 80s era, okay, Gary? And let's talk about guys that easily could have made it on some of the big series in that time back east. Robert Sprague, Mark Howard, Russ Sell. You got was
it Baumgartner? Was another one?
Tom Wagner, the Iceman, Tom Wagner. See, I start rattling off all these names. I start forgetting. I'm so tired right now. Bob Jeffrey, Darren Koffel, Jerry York. I mean, these are guys that were just loaded with talent that I do believe would have held their own against those guys in that era, in their prime. And unfortunately, they were stuck in the region winning track championships when they could have been in the big show racing at the World 100 and the Southern, the Hillbilly 100 and the big stuff, the dream. I hope that this generation we're looking at now is able to do, and I hate to say that, get out of the region. But if you're going to be recognized right now, that this region is so untapped, nobody's looking out here. You got to do it for yourself.
All right.
And that's the bad part right there, because it is expensive. There isn't anything about racing. I mean, the air that goes into tires, I swear, it costs $50 a tire. It seems like it's just stupid what it costs to race anymore. That's the bad part. But if you're gonna make a name, you got to follow the lead of the example of Laney and Dotson. You got to pack up and roll. Brody Pompey did it years ago. He's still back there racing. North Carolina, St. Louis, running UMP modifieds. You've got to go where the recognition is. You've got to go where the sponsors are, where the series are, where the big shows are, where the cameras are. See what I'm saying? They're not here.
No, but that's got to change.
And it is. I think that there's a movement happening here. I think we've kind of, everything kind of works in cycles, and then we've hit that down part. Now we're starting to climb back up. And there's enough young talent, and that's not to take away from the guys that are established. Don't think I'm taking anything away from, drivers like. I'll still call Trent Elliott a young talent, but I don't think I'm taking talent away or anything away from guys like Maya and Koffel and Hunziker and some of these guys that can drive race cars. Yeah. I mean, there's so many good late model drivers in California. Look at Tosin Papich. What'd they do? They're based out of Missouri now. They moved their whole operation back to Missouri. You kind of go where Rob Maya, he's been back there quite a bit the last couple of years. You got to go where the big shows are, I guess. Once you've proven yourself in this region, what do you do? What do you do when you've proven yourself in the region and it's not getting to the level where they are back there in the Midwest, Nebraska on east. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do? You go to Pennsylvania, and you know, like Maya does, and you go down to Georgia like Maya does, and you know, you go where the boys are. Look what Justin and John Duty have done the last couple of years. Haven't seen a whole lot of Justin. Where's he been? He's been racing Lucas Oil and World of Outlaws. You know, and that's one of the best young talents in the entire Western United States, and has the real possibility, if anybody was smart back east, would put that kid in a ride. That's the kind of kid you sign up for your ride and say, you know what? You're the future of this team. Got a ton of talent. He's made shows. He can prove. And that's with equipment that is good. But it's not what they're running.
Mm-hmm.
He's not getting the same stuff, you know, that a lot of those sponsor factory drivers, they don't give you. If you go and buy, if you're the house driver for Rocket, and you have those guys do your, you know, this is just throwing this out there, you're having them do your shocks. Do you think you're going to get the same shocks our house drivers getting? Hell no. You're not going to. But you get in the Rocket seat, now you get the best, or, you know, Swartz or Shaw, whatever chassis you want to get into, whatever ride you get, that's when equipment starts getting a little bit different. Things start changing. Right?
Absolutely.
And I'd love to see, you know, that's kind of why when I was talking to Ethan on the phone, we had him on the last show. Have you had any chassis guys, you know, any manufacturers call and say, hey, but you know, I knew, and I asked that question, I kind of set him up because I knew his answer to that question would be, I'm not going anywhere other than Victory Circle. I know that. I've talked with Ethan Dotson enough the last couple of years, knowing his situation. He's not getting out of VC. He's got a good thing going with those guys, and you look at what he's doing in that car. Why would you?
Right.
You just won the biggest modified race on the planet. Why would you change anything about your program? I mean, I don't know if I would. But regardless, those guys that are driving house cars for Rage or any other chassis manufacturer, they've got their own in-house programs.
Sure, they got their technicians out there.
They're not going to sell you the same shocks that are on that their house driver. I mean, why would they? That they're trying to sell cars. I get it. But we've got to, if you're the guy out here, you got to go back there to test yourself. You know, if you got to test yourself against the best, and had some guys do it and have been pretty darn good lately. It's great to see that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see those guys at Bud Nationals. A lot of the people we just talked about will be there. One of my favorite shows of the year. One of my favorite shows of the year just because high car count, and it's not that you show up and you got your 6 or 7 fast guys. No.
They're all fast.
Yeah. Yeah. They are. And if I'm a sport mod driver and I'm heading down there, I am going to make sure my program is on point. Everything is perfect because that sport mod racing down there at that show is no joke, Jack.
God, time is ticking too. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
8 days.
I'm looking forward
days.
not just the flight, but the show.
You had to throw in the flight.
Yeah, because once we give Sandy her 2,000 miles up sippy juice with her pain meds,
Yeah. She'll
gonna
probably
be a
try
good
to
time.
fly the plane.
she'd be like,
Probably.
I feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
You know what? We might be on one of those watch lists where they're going to have some sort of a...
Oh,
I'm
we're
pretty
already
sure.
on that. We're already, they've got that calendar. They mark that
I'm
every
pretty
year.
sure it doesn't say banned. It says get ready.
Yeah.
Get
yeah.
ready. Have 3 marshals on the plane.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
coming.
In case things get out of control.
No kidding. You know what? Warren showed up, guys. Warren showed up to see Sandy in the hospital. Just happened to be in town, heading to a trade show for his new position at the company he's working for. Then he was heading out to South Sound Speedway, and then from there flying back down to Arizona to, wrap up their season down there. Great to see Warren. He was, when is Bud Nationals? And I told him, he's like, damn it, I'm out of town. He's actually flying back east to do some stuff. But, it was cool to see him. So much to go on this time of year and start preparing for 2020. It's hard to talk about everything because this is the time of year where you hear a lot, but you can't confirm everything, you know,
No.
and